Out in the middle of the desert, winds can reach up to 150 kilometers an hour. That means that in the height of summer, oil and gas facilities like this can require cleaning with giant vacuum cleaners more than once a month. Experts say desertification caused by desert camping and farms being abandoned in neighbouring Iraq are key causes for a rise in the number and intensity of sandstorms here. It adds up to a major headache and tens of millions of dollars in costs for the oil industry alone.
When the sand is there accumulated, they have to clear their ways. And this is what's causing us, a lot of cost on our barrels of, exploration. And we have subcontractors, we have equipment, we have people that clean up these things, and they have to schedule these wells. There is a big amount of wells, water wells, oil wells, all around this field, and they have to clear them for the operation of our wells, because our operation is 24 hours, as you know, 24 hours, 7 days a week. It doesn't stop, and it's like fighting, like fighting a tide. It's not a water tide, it's sand tides.
This particularly bad sandstorm back in 2011 led to some hotels and other buildings being evacuated after the pressure of sand caused windows to crack. Airports are sometimes shut down, flights can get cancelled, and seaport disruption can affect oil exports. But there's a human impact as well.
There are hardly clear days. As you can see, this is supposed to be a clear day and you can't see the other side of the bay. This is almost year-round now we have this problem. It used to be seasonal, a few days in the spring, a few days in the summer, and hardly we had sandstorms in the winter. Now you see it throughout the year. And it's affecting human health, and we can see increased incidence of respiratory diseases when we have a storm, and people, can't leave their homes when it's a bad storm.
So what can be done to tackle the problem? This unassuming patch of greenery about 40 kilometers outside of Kuwait city centre actually represents the cutting edge of sandstorm mitigation research. It was a quarry here as far as the eye can see until about 10 years ago when that was abandoned. They subsequently realised that this had been a major source of dust and sandstorms in the city. The churning of the surface had destroyed any sorts of foliage that was growing, and scientists have now planted native plants that are not particularly thirsty in the hopes of proving that each one can collect up to 2 or 3 cubic meters of sand, keeping that out of the atmosphere.
This is our wind tunnel, in fact, in Qasr. So we are establishing, in fact, different experiments for controlling mobile sand.
Ali is the scientist heading up that research. Whilst he's confident of the benefits of replanting desert areas, it can be a difficult argument to make because there's a heavy upfront cost involved to enable plants to become self-sustaining.
We are talking about each plant costing about $3,500 just to make it live by itself for the 3 years irrigation. So there is some little bit cost in the beginning, but it will live forever to stabilize the sand.
Back in the desert, research is also looking at any potential benefits of sandstorms. They're testing the idea that nutrients are being brought in with dust and sand particles, which could help agriculture. But dealing with the issue will likely remain something of a losing battle. Even if potentially costly desert planting projects get approved, scientists say around 2/3 of dust and sandstorm particles are lightweight, high in the atmosphere, arriving from distant locations, and that these would not be collected by planting new vegetation.